The journey begins in silence, a slow fade from night into forever. Below you, a thin blue halo, Earth breathing against the dark. Cloud tops tinged with moonlight, continents dim as sleeping embers. The last whisper of air slips past your skin, and then there is only space. Black, patient, unblinking. Stars appear like thoughts surfacing from a quiet mind. 1, then 100, then too many to count. You let the weight fall away. You let the world fall away. Only breath remains. XOVION Sleep Series, Into the Deep. You drift into color. At first it is faint, a bruise of light on velvet, then a bloom that fills your vision, a cloud of hydrogen and dust stretching for light years. Astronomers call it the Carina Nebula, about 7,500 light years away. In places like this, gravity is patient. It gathers dust the way dew gathers on grass, quietly, without rush, without noise. Pressure mounts, temperature rises. Atoms that were wandering for eons begin to agree. A core brightens, a boundary forms, and somewhere inside the fog, a star awakens. Shock fronts carve pillars and arches, stone cathedral shapes made of gas. Radiation sculpts edges to lace, pushes shadows into caverns. Every ridge you see is a fossil of energy, a signature of light leaving its mark. The colors are not sound, and yet you can almost hear them. Violet like a held breath, gold like a remembered warmth. Remember this, the glow you see began long before us. By the time it arrived, entire civilizations had already risen and slept. Tonight, the message finally found you. You float through it as if through warm rain. Ahead rise the pillars of creation, towers of dust, each wider than our whole solar system. Hubble first revealed them in 1995. Decades later, the pillars were still there. Changed, but not gone. Erosion measured in centuries, not seasons. JWST looked again and showed the bones beneath the fog. Denser knots where stars gestate, cocoons warming from within. Radiation from nearby stars sands them grain by grain. Edges fray, cavities bloom. But deep inside, embryos of light continue to turn. Here, creation is not a burst but a vow. Slow, continuous, unstoppable. You pass between the columns. Light scatters like mist through stained glass. Particles brush your mind with the gentleness of moth wings. The scale should terrify you, but it doesn't. It makes room. It makes time. Another nursery opens, close by on the galactic map, and yet an ocean of distance away. This is the Orion Nebula, a cradle bright enough to be seen with backyard eyes. Clusters of young suns crowd its heart, their winds colliding, hollowing caverns, lighting curtains of dust from within. Between the curtains, jets of newborn stars lance into the dark, thin, decisive, like signatures on fresh paper. If you could wait 1,000,000 years, you would watch the haze thin, watch the children scatter, watch the cradle empty. But here, inside one human breath, it is enough to see them just as they are, beginning. Not all dust becomes a star. Some remains as quiet rings and sculpted belts. From that humility, planets are made. Stone, ice, cloud, storm. The unremarkable miracles of matter choosing shape. The light cools to ash. Threads unwind into a delicate sphere that still remembers its fire. This is the Crab Nebula, the echo of a supernova seen in 1054 by eyes that had no word for galaxies. In its center spins a pulsar, a city-sized star of crushed matter, turning roughly 30 times each second, sweeping beams across the dark like lighthouse arms. Each pulse is a clock you can't wind down. It feeds the nebula, drives ripples through the filaments, paints the dust with a light that does not tire. Death here is rearrangement. Iron forged in a core is donated to the night. Elements scatter like seeds. The universe is not sentimental, but it is generous. You drift along a strand that looks like smoke and thread at once. Tiny shocks chase each other down its spine. You think of breath. You think of tide. Beyond the fog of our neighborhood lies an orchard made of time. The James Webb Space Telescope opened a window onto it. A deep field where almost every fleck is not a star, but a galaxy, each containing uncountable suns, each carrying its own weather of orbit and storm. Some of these lights have traveled for over 13 billion years. By the time they arrived, continents had split and learned new names. Their colors are stretched, red shifted by the universe itself expanding between us. What you are seeing is not distance. It is a museum of moments. You glide across the field as if across fresh snow. Here, a spiral with arms so thin they seem to tremble. There, an elliptical like a lantern held in cupped hands. Between them, faint arcs and smears, light bent by gravity from foreground clusters, drawn into curves by mass you cannot see. Every beam of starlight is a message from the past. You let the sentence pass through you and do not try to hold it. Snow does not keep the shape of your palm, it remains snow. The view shifts. The grand web fades into smoke, and from that haze rises a single shape, a dark column crowned in firelight. Astronomers call it the Horsehead Nebula, a drifting sculpture of gas and shadow, 200 trillion kilometers high. It stands at the edge of Orion's belt, where ultraviolet storms from nearby stars carve its outline grain by grain. Behind the curtain, hydrogen glows crimson. The horse's mane ripples with hidden lightning. You pass along its ridge, where dust thickens into velvet night. Each filament is heavier than mountains, yet it moves like breath, folding and unfolding through centuries. The nebula's light is an illusion, darkness painted by stars it cannot see. Photons scatter off invisible grains, tracing the silhouette of a creature made of silence. Within those shadows, new suns are forming, small sparks pressed from the weight of the cloud itself. Gravity hums beneath the surface, binding the chaos into slow rhythm. Here, time does not flow, it drifts. Dust becomes star, star becomes dust again. You are a witness to the breath between them, a single thought wandering through a nebula that never meant to have a name. Beyond the web, the pattern loosens. Galaxies become stray sparks, adrift between clusters. You pass through intergalactic night, a distance so wide that light itself forgets its way. Out here, space isn't empty. It trembles. Ripples move through it, tiny flexes in space-time. Astronomers call them gravitational waves, the faint echoes of massive collisions, black holes merging, neutron stars tearing each other apart. The waves are smaller than an atom, yet they make entire galaxies ring like crystal. You feel one now, a pulse older than language, stretching you, releasing you, a heartbeat shared by everything that has ever fallen toward anything else. For a moment you sense pattern inside chaos, gravity singing to itself. Then the hum fades, leaving only distance, and your slow drift through it. Ahead waits the faintest glow, not from stars, not from galaxies, but from the cosmic microwave background, the cooled remnant of the Big Bang itself. It fills the universe evenly, a sea of ancient light stretched to wavelengths 100,000 times longer than sight. Telescopes translate it into color maps, tiny ripples, tiny differences, the fingerprints of the first structures that ever were. You drift through it as through warm dust. Every photon that touches you is 13.8 billion years old. This is the universe remembering its first moment of brightness. Somewhere behind that curtain, inflation began. Space expanding faster than light, creating the stage for everything that followed. The glow you feel now is the soft applause that never ended. You realize there is no true edge, only horizons that move as you approach. The cosmos keeps unfolding like breath in sleep, calm, endless, new. The galaxies thin to embers. A dark field opens, clean, cool, full of quiet distances. Only the afterglow remains, a background at about 2.7 Kelvin, the first light of the universe cooled to a whisper. You turn, not with feet or wings or fuel, but with a decision as soft as sleep. Behind you, nurseries glow. Pillars keep their slow vows. A remnant keeps time without mercy or malice. In front of you, night. Within you, the same light that built the night. Breathe in, breathe out. You are the nebula. You are the traveler. You are the light taking the long way home. Sleep now. XOVION, where the universe never sleeps.